What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and welcome back to another episode of Predict the Prem, where me and my brother go head-to-head in predicting Premier League outcomes. I don't have the score in front of me, but I know I am winning, I think, by 21 points going into this week. So a lot of making up to do for Sim, and let's get straight into it with the first game of the weekend. Oh, there it is, 98-77. Going into it, Nottingham Forest against Liverpool. We've both gone for Liverpool wins. I've gone for 5-0. Sim's gone for 2-0. I mean, Nottingham Forest have just been shocking last month or so, last couple, well, all season really, to be honest. And Liverpool getting their tails up a bit recently with a couple of wins behind their belt. A big 7-1 win in there against Rangers. So I think there could be a very heavy victory in here for Liverpool. So I've gone for 5-0.
Yeah, I would have gone for a heavier victory. The only reason I didn't is just because of a few injuries to the Liverpool front line, which means maybe they're not going to be as dynamic as they have been. With Diaz injured, Jota's injured now. They do still have good firepower, Nunes, Firmino and Salah. So I do think they'll win. I think they'll win comfortably, but I've just gone by the 2 goals.
All right, let's move on to Everton Crystal Palace at Goodison Park. I've gone for 1-1 here. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Palace. What's your thinking?
Yeah, I think Everton, on the back of 3 defeats in a row, they definitely need to get something out of this game. I think maybe if they get a defeat, the pressure will start to build on Lampard. Palace, on the other hand, good victory against Wolves last time out. I think Olise, Eze, Zaha and Edouard starting to maybe click a bit. I think away from home, I think Everton are going to come out the traps and try and win this game off the bat because they haven't got any points in the past 3 games, and it could leave some space for Crystal Palace to hit them on the counters. So Palace are pretty good sometimes in these situations, so I've just gone for them to nick it.
Yeah, Palace not really usually a happy... I mean, Goodison Park not really usually a happy hunting ground for Crystal Palace. They haven't won there since 2014, which is a long time now. Everton, yeah, they are on the back of 3 defeats, but I expect them to bounce back somewhat this weekend. They have had 3 very difficult games in the past 3 weeks, where Newcastle away, Tottenham away, and also Manchester United as well. So very difficult games there for Everton. Palace, on the other hand, they had a really impressive win, but results haven't been going their way apart from that, really. So I've gone for 1-1. Can't really split the sides, and I think it'll be a tough nut to crack for Crystal Palace this weekend, especially at Goodison Park with the crowd behind them. So I've gone for a draw in this one. Moving on to Man City against Brighton. Both of us gone for the same scoreline here, 3-0 to Man City. And obviously Man City didn't play in the week, so they'll be fresh, fit and firing. And not only that, but Haaland didn't get a goal in the last game week, so I'm expecting him to bounce back and probably score a hat-trick in this game. Brighton, on the other hand, under De Zerbi, haven't got a win yet. They had a few kind of impressive performances, but they just can't get that goal, and I don't think it's going to change against this Man City defence here.
Yeah, especially how De Zerbi likes to play. He likes to throw a bit of caution to the wind and be a bit expansive, and I can't see that working away at Man City. And even if they do go a bit more pragmatic, Man City would be too strong. I don't think the Brighton defence will be strong enough, and I think going forward at the moment they look a bit toothless, and I think they might create some chances, but I'm going to back Man City to keep a clean sheet in this one.
All right, let's move on to a big game this weekend. Chelsea against Manchester United. Manchester United with their tails up with a really impressive, probably their best performance of the season against Spurs. I've gone for 2-2. Sim's gone for 1-1. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think Chelsea... off the back of a disappointing result against Brentford, albeit they have had good results under Potter up until then. I think they're going to this Man United game maybe off the back of 2 disappointing performances. They want to change that and improve on that. I think right now their forward line, they're getting... I think Chelsea in general are creating chances, but they're not... And I don't know, their forward line, they're not scoring like loads of goals at the moment, the 3 players up front. But I do see Chelsea getting some joy against Man United. Man United are playing quite well. They had the perfect performance against Spurs in midweek. I think their attacking talent is definitely good enough to create problems for Chelsea, despite Chelsea having some good defenders. So I think it's going to be a tight game, so I see a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I also see a tight game, but I think there'll be goals in this one. I think that the way both teams are playing, they're both going for it at the moment. Potter and Ten Hag have I wouldn't say similar philosophy, but both attacking philosophies. And the last 4 games against these two teams have all ended up in draws. I actually put 1-1 to start with, but I changed it to 2-2 because I put a few 1-1s in this week. I didn't know how many there were going to be, so I've just gone for 2-2 here. But at Villa Park this weekend, they host Brentford, which is going to be an interesting game. Sin's gone for 2-1 to Villa. I've gone for 1-1 here. I think that Steven Gerrard now sacked. I'm not sure who the caretaker is for this game, but they are managerless coming into this game. Brentford playing good football at the moment, getting good results at the moment. But I think the kind of manager sacked bounce might impact this game a little bit. But I think Brentford might be a bit of a tough nut to crack, so I've gone for 1-1.
Yeah, Brentford obviously a good team, and they're not going to be easy to play against. But I just feel like with Villa's quality in their team, sometimes when a manager gets sacked, the shackles can come off a bit, and obviously it leads to a bit of disorganisation, which is bad. But sometimes on the one-off games, and maybe again, and I'm backing it to happen this game, they can maybe just with the shackles off go forward a bit more and play with a bit more freedom. And with the talent they have, I think they're going to be able to create some chances and possibly get some goals against a Brentford side who are albeit good, but they're a team that are better as a team than the sum of its parts. So it could lead, I think the quality, Villa have a bit better quality. So I think with the Villa crowd behind them, maybe a bit of shackles off, I've gone for them just to nick a win. Doesn't mean long term they're going to be good. I just think in this game, the shackles off, I've gone for them to win.
All right, let's move on to Leeds against Fulham. Sim's gone for 2-0 to Leeds. I've gone for 2-1 to Leeds, interestingly enough. What's your thinking behind the 2-0 victory?
Yeah, I think Fulham, obviously they beat Villa in midweek 3-0, but I think and I wouldn't say they got fortunate, but I think they obviously the red card won in their favour. I thought the penalty was extremely harsh against and to make it 2-0, and obviously that went in their favour. But they drew 2-2 at home to Bournemouth before that. I just think Leeds, off the back of a very good performance against Arsenal at home, where they should have really won. They obviously lost to Leicester in midweek, but I feel like Leeds' high pressing style, maybe with Sinistera coming back into it, Bamford back up front, I think they might be able to hound and harass Fulham, who are defending quite well at the moment, but I feel like Leeds should have enough to create some chances in this game, and I think Fulham, if Mitrovic is too isolated, it's going to be difficult for him to get in the game. So I've gone for a 2-0 win to Leeds.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-1. I think it'll be a close game. Leeds, they have played well the last couple of weeks without getting over the line, especially that game against Arsenal at Ellen Road, and you saw how impactful the fans can be that day. Behind the team at Ellen Road. And Fulham, on the other hand, they're also going well at the moment, but away from home they're lacking a little bit. In the last 5 games away from home, they've lost them all apart from the win against Nottingham Forest, and they do seem to be grabbing a goal in all those defeats as well. So I think Fulham, with the firepower of Mitrovic and Andreas Pereira, I think they can find a goal from somewhere, maybe a set piece. But I think Leeds, with the way they're playing at the moment, they should get over the line here, so I've gone for 2-1 to Leeds. Next up is Southampton against Arsenal at St Mary's. Both of us going for Arsenal wins. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Arsenal. I've gone for 2-0. And on the back of that away win against Leeds 1-0, it was a shocking performance, and I think Arteta will grill into them that they need to be better in this game if they're going to get the 3 points, and I think they will be better. I think their defence will be a bit too mean for this Southampton attack, who Southampton just not playing well at the moment, albeit just got 3 points against Bournemouth, but I think Arsenal will just be too strong here.
Yeah, I think hopefully for Southampton, that win will give them a bit more confidence to maybe attack Arsenal a bit more and create some chances. But I think Arsenal right now are way too strong for Southampton, who are perennially Hassan Hüttl's always in the firing line. I think the win would have given a bit of a reprieve, but I can't see that influencing the game in terms of a final result. And I think Arsenal, even though they played a strong team in midweek, I don't see any fatigue options for a very young, youthful team. So I think Arsenal should be too strong in this one for Southampton.
Unfortunately so. Moving on to Molineux as Wolves face Leicester in a Midlands clash. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Leicester. I've gone for 1-0 to Wolves here. What's your thinking?
Yeah, the Wolves did all right against Palace, succumbing to a defeat in the end, I think probably deservedly so. They just about scraped over the line against Nottingham Forest at home last week. And I think Leicester are starting to maybe get a bit of a turnaround. I think maybe they're starting to improve a bit. Beating Leeds in midweek. They obviously lost to Bournemouth the week before, but they got a win before that against Forest. So they're starting
they drew with Palace, no,
and they drew with Palace 0-0, which they didn't lose. So they're starting to after a string of defeats, they're starting to get a few results. And I think Wolves are still without a manager. They have announced that the caretaker manager is going to be there until after the World Cup, but also that gives them a bit of stability. But also says to me they're still looking for the new manager, and I don't know if they are confident this guy's going to be their full-time manager. I think Leicester, with Maddison back in the team as well, who was missing in midweek, should have a bit of firepower. The defence is still weak, so I think Wolves will score, but I think Leicester will probably be a bit too strong in my opinion, so I went for 2-1.
Interesting. I think it's an interesting one with both teams, to be honest, because obviously Wolves have lost their manager after a string of poor results, a long string of poor results. But at home, they usually are quite strong, and still up to this day, they're not losing many games at home, with only one loss coming in their last 5 or 6 home games, and that coming against Man City. Leicester, on the other hand, I think their good performances are coming at the King Power. So away at Molineux against a very mean Wolves defence, I can see Wolves actually nicking this one. So I've gone for 1-0 to Wolves. Moving on to Tottenham now. Tottenham against Newcastle in a very difficult game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Sim's gone for 1-0 to Spurs. I've gone for 2-1 to Spurs. It's going to be a very difficult game, no two ways about it. They're going to set up to really hurt us, to really frustrate us, and we need to dust ourselves off and pick ourselves up from that loss at Old Trafford, and I think we will do that. We're going to have to go 3-5-2 again, but hopefully that will give us a solid base in midfield to really spring on them when we can. And I can see Newcastle scoring from somewhere. I bet you Trippier scores a free kick or something crazy like that, but I've gone for 2-1 to Spurs.
Yeah, I see it being a really tight game. Obviously, Newcastle won 1-0 in midweek against Everton, drew 0-0 away at Old Trafford, and I believe they've got the meanest defence in the Premier League right now, 9 goals conceded. So I think it's going to be a really, really difficult game, and I think especially I know we're very good at home, but if they set up to frustrate us, they've clearly shown this season. Even they drew at home to Man City as well. They just about lost to Liverpool. They were really unlucky in that game to lose. So they've had some big performances against big teams.
And the Man City game as well.
I'm saying, they drew 3-3 to Man City.
Oh, you said it.
So they've played really well against all the good teams. So I really do see this being a really, really close game. I think the only thing in our favour is Joe Linton injured and Maximam injured, so they don't have quite their first team out there, and hopefully the replacements should lead to enough of a decrease in quality that we just about nick it. And I think hopefully there'll be a reaction to the defeat at Old Trafford, and we'll up our performance, and we should have done enough to scrape through in this 1-0.
And the last game of the weekend, Monday Night Football, West Ham against Bournemouth at the London Stadium. Both of us going for the same scoreline here, 3-1 to West Ham. And on the back of Bournemouth, Gary O'Neill's first defeat as Bournemouth manager. I think West Ham are going actually quite well at the moment with Scamacca up front. He seems to be getting to grips with life at West Ham. Paqueta is out for this game, and he might be out till after the World Cup. But I think West Ham, with Jarrod Bowen, with Scamacca, with the other bits of firepower they have, I think they'll have too much for Bournemouth at home this weekend.
Yeah, I think we might be seeing Bournemouth drop off a little in terms of results after finally getting their first defeat. Will the belief be affected after getting that first defeat at home to Southampton in midweek? We'll have to wait and see. But I think West Ham, I agree with you, playing fairly well at the moment. They have quality in their squad. They had an awful start to the season, but it was only a matter of time before that started to turn around, and I think we're seeing that now. And I think at home to Bournemouth, they'll see this as a brilliant opportunity to keep that run going. So I think 3-1.
All right, now it's time to move over to the Star Men, and let's see who we've picked this week. And it's a Liverpool head-to-head. Sim's gone for Bobby Firmino, and I have gone for Mohamed Salah. It's going to be an interesting matchup, obviously predicting a lot of Liverpool goals this weekend against Nottingham Forest. But Salah against Firmino, an interesting one.
I think Firmino has been in pretty decent form by his standards this season, so I'm hoping he starts against Forest away. And I think if he does that, he should be amongst the goals. I was tempted by Salah, but I just avoided it for one more for a week. Yeah,
I went for Salah because he's starting to get to really knuckle down into this season now. Scored a hat-trick against Rangers, backed that up with a goal against Man City. And he's starting to get in on the action now, Mo Salah, after a quiet start to the season, a quiet second half of the season last year. So I'm expecting a few goals from Mo Salah this weekend. So we'll see what happens. But that is your Premier League predictions for this week. Let me know in the comment section below what your predictions are and who you think will come out on top, me or Sim, this weekend. Thank you everyone for watching today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always,
come on you Spurs.